haunting George Graham. Yes, Eric Cantona grabs the headlines. His penalty for Manchester United enough to sink his old club Leeds at Old Trafford. And Alex Ferguson's post-match comments that Leeds' new owners betrayed Wilkinson when they sacked him are also given prominence. Sheffield Wednesday's fight back in a 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge gets due recognition. And off the field there's news that Mark McCormack's sports promotion company IMG is sent to be sniffing around Hillsborough. Wednesday have now gone 11 Premiership matches without defeat, but they've only won 2 of those, so they're still just 9th. Leeds' defeat at Manchester United leaves them 15th. Of the teams below them, only Middlesbrough lost. Southampton play Liverpool this afternoon.
Victory for Sheffield United over Oldham would have kept the Blades second behind Bolton, and they had a superb start. Gareth Taylor's 1-2 with Don Hutchison, ultimately rewarded as the shot clipped off Craig Fleming's heel to confuse Gary Kelly. Kelly's opposite number was brother Alan, and he was helpless too when Oldham skipper Nick Henry forged a way through the middle of the United defence to equalise within half an hour. Oldham certainly didn't play like a team in trouble at the wrong end of the table. They'd have taken the lead, but for Alan, Kelly's fine save from Carl Serrant. There were just 20 minutes left when Belarus international Peter Kuchero showed his class a neat back heel to substitute Paul Simpson, and he was there again to finish the move. The points seemed there for the taking, but Oldham got a touch of good fortune when Pontefract-born Paul Ricker's shot boomeranged off a defender, leaving Kelly stranded, and Oldham happy. They'd have been even happier if they'd stolen maximum points. They nearly did. Sean McCarthy's cross just eluding Stuart Barlow. A draw slightly disappointing for 16,000 fans. 2-2.
Those who doubt that Barnsley have either the class or the ambition to make it into the Premiership should have been amongst Oakwell's biggest crowd of the season. 17,000 of them there to watch them crush struggling Manchester City. The influential Jovo Bozancic, the first to go close. Fair enough, City are not exactly on the crest of a wave, and it did take a disputed penalty to give Barnsley the opening goal. Nicky Eden's follow-up shot after a hectic goalmouth scramble, striking Kit Simons on the arm, and Bozancic calmly stroked home the spot kick. But there's no argument about the way Barnsley played or their second goal just after the half hour. Bozancic and Eden again involved, and Darren Sheridan's raking cross was met superbly by Adrian Moses. Despite City's lowly position in the table, they do still, of course, possess some high-class performers. Recent signing from Southampton, Neil Heaney, providing a cross from which Steve Lomas went close. And it was Heaney who broke to set up the visitors' best chance of the match in the second half. His cross found Georgie Kinkladze, whose half-hit shot brought the best out of Dave Watson. But overall, Barnsley were well in command, and with John Hendry hitting a post late on, it was a more comfortable victory than the scoreline suggests, and one that might just silence those doubters.
To say that we suggest that we don't want to go up, you know, is a slant on myself and on the players. You know, there's nothing that anybody can say or do that will stop us trying to get there. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, we hope we have the ability and you know, and a little bit of luck that goes with it, that will take us up there. You know, at the end of the day, who knows what's going to happen between now and the end of the season, but we'll give it our best shot, I know that.
The pitch at Swindon's county ground may look all right, but it was rutted in places. Nonetheless, referee Halsey declared it playable and found himself in the spotlight again after 21 minutes. Grimsby defender Graham Rodger, the man in trouble, the offence stamping on Lee Collins. The outcome, the inevitable red card. Not many Grimsby fans had made the long journey to Wiltshire, but those that had probably feared the worst when Swindon took the lead. A cracking shot from Kevin Watson. But they needn't have worried. Referee Halsey came to their rescue moments later by abandoning the game, much to the anger of Swindon manager Steve McMahon and his players.
These are difficult times for Bradford manager Chris Kamara. He had no complaints about the penalty that gave Norwich the lead. Andy Johnson sandwiched by Andy O'Brien and John Dreyer. And Neil Adams sent Mark Schwarzer the wrong way from the spot. But Kamara was furious that City should have had a penalty themselves, only seconds before Keith O'Neill wrapped up the points for the Canaries in the second half. So 6 games now without a win for Bradford. They're still in the bottom 3 along with Grimsby, but after yesterday's abandonment, the Mariners do now have at least 1 game in hand. Huddersfield are 18th, but still nearer the playoffs than the relegation zone. Barnsley swapped places with Sheffield United, and the top 3 is 6 points clear of the chasing pack.
Rotherham United are without a win in 11 since October the 26th, and the portents were not good when Bury's David Johnson launched himself at Dean West Cross but missed. Stan Turnant's side from across the Pennines are poised for a promotion challenge, lying third, and they strung together a neat move after 18 minutes. Rob Matthews combining effectively with Lenny Johnrose and producing a finish too good for United keeper Steve Cherry. There were more problems for Danny Bergara's side as Bury buzzed around their penalty area. Johnrose again to the fore with a header into the 6-yard box. And Mark Carter's final header net-bound until Cherry's spectacular intervention. At long last, Rotherham began to assert themselves in the second half, and Andy Roscoe, perhaps the most consistent performer in recent weeks, forced a save out of Dean Kiley. Sean Goodwin came on as a substitute, and Rotherham threw everything into a bid for an equaliser. Bradley Sandeman's header stopped on the line, and referee Kevin Lynch decided that West had used his hand rather than his chest. West dispatched for the early bath. Goodwin's penalty was perfect, and the division's bottom side had a point. They almost had 3 when Bury were pressurised in the closing moments. Roscoe again managed to hit in a dangerous shot, but the Millers couldn't force the ball through. Rotherham 1, Bury 1.
York's away form recently has been less than impressive. 4 defeats and just 1 win in their last 5 league matches on their travels, and this time the luck didn't favour them either, as Paul Evans' shot just after the half-hour took a wicked deflection past Tim Clark. There was a trace of good fortune about Shrewsbury's second goal too. Mark Dempsey's shot falling nicely for Ian Stevens to turn and shoot through the keeper's legs. Shrewsbury 2, York 0. And that's a result that sees York slip a couple of places down the table to 17th. Rotherham are now 5 points adrift at the bottom, but more significantly, they're 10 points away from safety. Chesterfield's game at leaders Brentford was one of 7 in the second division to fall foul of the Frees. They're now in 11th.
When Scarborough fullback John Kay shaped up to take this free kick, he scarcely thought it would lead to a goal for Brighton, but it did. Simon Fox snapped up the clearance. He sent Stuart Storr on his way, and this fellow is quick. He also showed a clear head to beat Tippy Moylanen. The Bury equaliser, which keeps Brighton 7 points adrift at the bottom, followed Andy Ritchie's header. Keeper Nicky Rust got a hand to the ball but couldn't hold it. Steve Brodie scored his first goal for Scarborough. Brighton's problems were compounded by their 3rd sending off of the season for that challenge by Derek Allen. It was his 2nd bookable offence, but neither side would be happy with the final outcome, a mere point apiece. Scarborough 1, Brighton 1.
Both managers criticised referee Mr Butler for allowing this game to go ahead, but it provided plenty of entertainment and plenty of skill as Andy Saville defied the conditions to produce a sublime chip that put Wigan ahead. Scunthorpe weren't level until 10 minutes after half-time. Steve Morgan handling a cross from John Eyre, who after the protests were waved away, duly dispatched the penalty. It was the first of 4 goals in a frantic 6-minute spell around the hour mark. Wigan regained the lead through Paul Rogers, but a mistake from the visitors' keeper Lee Butler 2 minutes later allowed Jamie Patterson the chance to return the ball into the danger zone, where Andy McFarlane applied the last touch. The 2,800 at Glanford Park was still digesting that when seconds later Wigan scored what proved to be the winner, Ian Kilford, with a strike worthy of winning any game. 3-2 to Wigan. Scunthorpe's second 3-2 defeat in a week sees them slip to 11th, but Scarborough's point propels them back into the top half of the table. Hull's game at Rochdale was called off. And Lincoln, Mansfield and Doncaster were also thwarted by the weather. Doncaster in particular will be hoping that Brighton's mini-revival's cut short. They're now just 8 points clear of the basement.
These were the men in form yesterday. Bradford City's Mark Schwarzer is in goal. Nicky Eden of Barnsley, Carlton Palmer of Leeds, Gary Bennett of Scarborough and Andy Roscoe of Rotherham make up the back 4. The midfield comprises Des Hamilton, Darren Bullock, Jovo Pezančić and Mark Pembridge, the last 2 both getting their first goals of the season. And this week's strike force is Scunthorpe's John Eyre and Sheffield United's Peter Cachuro.